Hello again, this is Dr. Jimmy at your service, and today I will be presenting my fourth video in my series on the history of Halloween Horror Nights 22. It's the same day as part 3 actually. This is Saturday, June 4th, 2016. June the 4th be with you! Oh, that doesn't work so well as May the 4th be with you. Oh dear. It worked last month. Why doesn't it work this month? I don't know. Oh well. Alright then. So I'm wearing the same Joel's and Steam t-shirt, so I don't have to show you my clothes again. In fact, for all you know, I'm naked. Well, no, I'm not. It's not that dark. Not that shadowy in here. Oh, one little thing, as I have some Pepsi. Previous video, I alluded to the attempt to create a ghost experiment, and I now realise the name of the spectre they tried to create was named Philip, which doesn't start with a J at all. Where did I come up with a J? I thought it was something like Jeremiah or something, kind of Old Testament, Joshua or Jebediah or, you know, Jerry Lewis or some silly, I don't know where that came from. And it should have been Philip. Philip. That's so mundane. Oh well. Anyway, I spent so much time going on about Eastern metaphysics and all that, I never got to the frickin' house. Dead End, which was the house, the first one I want to talk about for Halloween Horror Nights 22. Dead End. And so let's get on with Dead End now. I hit a dead end. Oh dear, that sucked. Sorry about that. Alright, so the house itself, and I talked over the whole idea that it was haunted because people believed in the spooks and that caused the spooks to manifest, right? We covered that, alright. So, you go in the soundstage 20, and you see the magnificent facade, this beautiful creepy Victorian mansion all falling apart, looming above you, the windows all shuttered up and boarded over. It's decrepit. Obviously there's no live creature inside there. Big nasty trees that are all bereft of branches and gnarly things. It's a scary looking thing. But there's a hint of some sort of activity. Are those lights? Why would there be lights inside? Like candles or something on the upper windows. How mysterious. There's a light. No. Let's not go there. So you go up toward this creepy yard overgrown with weeds and stuff, and go up the little hill, and then you see some pumpkins on the porch. There's some old furniture on the porch, and there's a couple of jack-o'-lanterns on one side, another one on the other side, with baleful glares and gicky grins looking at you, and they're lit. So someone's lit the pumpkins, and you're going up the steps, because you're going up because there's steps, though, which means those people who are not able to go up steps, whether they're in a wheelchair or some other that can't quite make steps, then have to shuffle along and step along on a nice ramp. Instead, there's a nice ramp off to the side that goes around to the back of the porch. Let me tell you something. They try to make them accessible, and they've actually seemed to widen all the rooms that year a little bit to make them more accessible. I remember in previous years there were more narrow rooms. They were a little more wide in 2012, and then later in 2013 as well. The rooms did seem to be quite wide, but having pushed a wheelchair through some of those houses in 2012, even those supposedly wider rooms weren't all that wide, and you bump into the walls and stuff a couple of times. It's not easy to get through there with a wheelchair, let me tell you that. I know that myself. Okay? I wasn't in a wheelchair, but I was with someone else that I pushed through, you see, on at least one occasion. Free tickets, after all. So I got to take someone with me one of those weekends that wasn't on the frequent fare. I got to take someone with me. Anyway, you go up into that house, and first thing you see when you get in, once you get past the jack-o'-lanterns on the porch, is you're in a little sort of entranceway foyer area, and there's some nice creepy old furniture, dusty cobwebs, that kind of stuff. vases filled with dead flowers. And you might notice above you there's a staircase, and there seems to be a strange figure going up the stairs, like an old lady or a woman of some sort, kind of see-through, like she's a spooky ghost. Oh my God, it's already starting. But then you look to one side and you can see a lovely little love seat, and there's little miniature sofas just for 2 people, and it's just sitting there all inviting like. And when I first saw that, I said to myself, OMG. No, I don't call myself that. That would be kind of, that would be kind of arrogant to refer to myself as oh my God. But anyway, I looked at the little love seat. I'm not that good. And I said, I bet you one of these times I'm going to come in here and there's going to be someone sitting in it. Because people are going to see the love seat. So I've been walking around all day in the theme park and my feet hurt, and now I've been on this line to get in this haunted house, and now I can sit down and take a break and have some of this bottled water. And I was thinking, I bet you that's going to happen. Well, sort of. One time I went in there a couple of weeks later, I looked over to my right to see if anyone's using the love seat, because it amused me to do so, and there were 2 young people, 2 teenagers, making out heavily on the love seat, groping and all. And it's like, oh, they're horny. And I just laughed and I said, to myself, of course, I didn't say it out loud. I said, thinking to myself, it would be interesting to wait here and watch and see how long it takes, how long they can go at it before operations comes to throw water on them and tell them, get out, get a room, stop that, no fornicating on the furniture. Are they going to, how long will it take? Because if they don't come soon, they're going to have, start procreating, and that would be messy. But it would be kind of creepy to stop and watch people when they're in this activity, because that's like perv. So I said, no, I won't stay here. I won't watch them because, I'm not a voyeur. I'm not into that. So I kept going. But I still wonder how long it took before someone came and chased them out. Hopefully not too long at all. But that's not the sort of scares we're talking about. Anyway, you saw the ghost going up the stairs. So as you go past that, a little hallway, there's some curtains on one side, and there's a boo hole there for some kind of spooky ghost to come out and get you. So you do this simple thing like a person with a sheet or a shroud. But as you're going past, and the little old lady had gone up the stairs, when she gets to the top, it's a thumpity thump, and then boom! That comes the corpse, upside down, hanging from the neck broke, all scary there. And it looks like a younger woman, actually, but I wondered if that was meant she hung herself, and that was the corpse falling down after that, the neck broke, or she committed suicide up there. That was kind of what you wondered, and she has to repeat this forever. But that was like a scare. It made you jump 3 feet up. And then you find yourself going into the house and descending into the bowels of the house. Ooh. Yes, down into the basements. And this is where the vortex tunnel was located that year. And what was really interesting about the vortex tunnel is the vortex tunnel was on the outside of the house. How do I explain this? It's a corridor. It's an ordinary corridor in a house. That means you've got walls and a ceiling and a floor just like you normally would have, rectangular like. But all of a sudden they turned kind of transparent, and the vortex tunnel was on the outside of the hallway. Like, here's the hallway, the regular hallway, and the vortex tunnel was around that. So it's like all of a sudden the walls go transparent and you're in the vortex tunnel, and there's faces of ghosts and specters going around you, and then it disappears again and you have solid walls, or at least they look solid. And how did that happen? Kind of a really weird illusion. But you're going downwards as you do that, because you're going down into the basement, and the walls turn to stone and it's cold and clammy. Well, that could be my imagination, but it feels like you're going down into the depths of the basement. And the basement is full of all kinds of junk, because you keep your shit in its basement, right? Children's toys. There's a doorhouse over here. And oh, what's that past the doorhouse? Ooh, it looks like you can see through a crack in the wall, and there's a ghostly figure floating around. How weird. And over here some more toys and dolls. And oh my God, this horrible man, or is it a child, with eyes sewn shut and mouth Ah! So, oh my fucking god, it's scary. Then you go past that, and there's oh, you can see another female ghost, and you seem to see through her as she moves through this strange basement room, and there's like a mirror and some furniture like a vanity. But then she disappears, and then she pops out again as a real person, a real character to come at you. So it's all quite interesting. Then you come up out of the cellar, and now you're in a little sort of salon where they're doing a photography shoot. There's this hideous old photographer in this suit and like Victorian clothing. He's got an old-fashioned camera. And then in the next room of the salon, as the chairs are set up, and there are the people modelling, except they're all quite dead throat slashes, just horrible smiles, and they don't seem to move until the flash, and then they might move and come at you. Kind of creepy. Kind of reminded you of a scene that they used in Insidious the following year, where the figures that seemed to be still and not moving then moved suddenly and horribly. So that was the kind of an effect of using the flash, you know, to blind you and at the same time set you up for the jump scare. Then you went to the bathroom, yes, where there was a bath and someone had drowned in the bath, and then the horrible corpse ghost of the drowned person comes out at you, and although the victim in the tub seemed to be a smaller woman, the corpse apparently, after having been soaking forever, has bloated into this great big bloated corpse. Remember the lady in the bathtub in The Shining? More like the book, not the movie, because in the movie she wasn't quite as bloated, or she was quite hideous. But, you know, there's this horrific blobby thing. It's quite horrific. Of course, they hired plus-size actresses to play the part, and of course made them even more bloated with the bodysuit, but nevertheless, they did a very good job. And the girl who actually did it is a very pretty, nice girl, even if plus size but pretty, and a very nice girl named Nancy, who's a good friend of mine, in one of the casts at least. So you wouldn't know it was her though, because she was quite horrible. Looked like she'd been underwater for way too long and got all bloated and desiccated and decayed. Ugh. Kind of that brown leathery thing. Ugh, horrible look when you've been underwater too long. So that was quite awful, but scary. Very good. Well done, actually. Well done, Racine. Then you found yourself, I think next you went up into the attic, and so you start going upwards now. You've been going down, down. Now you start going up. There's no stairs, but it sort of ramps, and you felt like you were moving. So you go into the attic. I think you go into a conservatory-like room, perhaps, first. So it's got like plants. You know, sort of like, remember like the scene with Cindy Kane and the caretaker last year in Jack's Maniacs? It was the same room basically, full of plants and things and creepy things and trees. Essentially, it was a creepy old conservatory filled with plants, but they had a really nifty trick because they used a mirror on one side, so what you're actually seeing is the reflection of the part of the room behind you. And so you don't realize that standing on the other side of what you think is an open space is a scare actor you can't see. So you don't think there's anybody there, but there's a post. And you think the post is just standing in the middle of the room. But the post has a mirror along one side of it, and behind it there's someone hiding, and you can't see them. So it looks like it's pure open space going all the way through. So you don't. So when you walk past the post and coming out from behind the post is a figure, it's like they just materialize out of thin air, because the post is too narrow for a person to have hidden behind. So it's like, not only is it a jump scare, but it's like, how the fuck? Because there's no way a person should even be there. It's like they just popped into existence. A horrible tree-covered, moss-covered, ghostly figure comes out at you, and in this room full of it. And there's also lit tree-like trees that come to life, plants that come to life. It's all quite scary in this thing. Then you get up into the actual attic, and there's more stuff in there, all sorts of, like a sewing room really, and it's like the dress dummy is alive, like they used a human being as a dress dummy and sewed clothing on it and sewed her up, and she's all covered with the cloth and sewed her all shut, something like that. It's rather horrific, and lots of sewing machines and needle, you know, that kind of paraphernalia. If you look closely, you might have noticed on one of the sewing machines a very familiar green and red striped sweater. I've been told there was also a chainsaw and Jason's mask in in a house somewhere. Well, I've never found those, but I did see Freddy's sweater in that one, in one of these scenes here. There were other attics, rooms full of debris and old props, and a creepy old man that would seemingly pop out of nowhere. Very, very scary in that scene. And then there was a long hallway filled with shelves of books. So it's kind of close, and there's books on either side of you. And sometimes the books came out and floated around. It's like, holy crap. And behind the shelves were these creepy old lady and a creepy old man who would sometimes pop out and, you know, come after you while the books were distracting you with their floating above your head. And it's all done in this narrow shelf, like you're going through shelves, kind of Ghostbusters in a haunted library there, I guess, but, you know, no mucus, thank goodness. Let's see, what's doing? Oh yes, and then I think that's most of it except for the last bit. And you go into a bedroom, and then it's like the whole place has gone completely mental, because now the whole bedroom is sideways. It's sort of like that one scene in the Nightmare on Elm Street house back in 2007, where the bedroom is sideways, the one where Johnny Depp was killed. Only in this case, it's just turned over, and a big bed is there, and it's like you're walking on the wall, and somehow on the bed is a ghost face of a woman that's screaming and projected, and she's shrieking, and the whole thing is not, you know, is on the wall, but it's there. It's kind of weird. But you don't go through the bed, you go past it, and then coming out from under the bed is the same woman as a ghost. Yeah, but of course under the bed, because she's not on the floor, she's on the wall, so it's very weird, and you're all disoriented, like the whole universe is now not, gravity is not obeying the proper rules. And the last bit, there's the last few rooms as you go through trying to get out, everything's gotten very strange. Weird creatures pop out of you, a little dwarf-like horrible thing, and a sort of child's toy doll, sort of a gesture doll come to life, and it's very strange. Creepy as all get out. It was hard to understand what was going on by the time you're out of there, because you get kind of disoriented. But some two rather creepy little creatures at the end. And then you would scan your card as you left. Now, we'll get to that later. We won't do that until a long time from now when we get to the games. But that was Dead End located there. So, one house down, 6 more to go. The next house I want to talk about was also one of the original houses. I think this one was House of the Year. It was a very beautiful house. It was the second house in Soundstage 20. The house was called Gothic. Gothic. And Gothic was set in a cathedral that was being refurbished. Now there's an animated television program that was made by Disney, I think, called Gargoyles. And they're stone by day and live by night, or whatever. I don't think this was an inspiration for this house, but apparently the idea is that all these old Gothic, you know, the Gothic architecture has the lancet windows, you know, and the flying buttresses on the another, of course, are the water spouts, the gargoyles in the shape of hideous kings, usually grotesqueries and babooneries of various sorts, often like some sort of creature that's a little demonic with bat wings and animal faces, little stone statuary. Oh hell, if you don't know what a gargoyle is, what are you doing at Horror Nights? But I happen to have one right here. Here's my little friend, the gargoyle. So here's a gargoyle. They don't all necessarily look like that one, but that is a gargoyle. Yes. And just happened to remember the statuary I happen to have lying about the house. Yes. So the gargoyles in this cathedral are guarding this holy place from any interlopers during that time when the sanctuary may be desanctified, so that workers can come in, and anybody might come in and rip off the fine tapestries and figures, and the gargoyles have come to life to protect it. So really you shouldn't have anything to worry about unless you're some sort of criminal bastard. Otherwise, if you're a good person, you know, then you don't have to worry. The gargoyles will actually protect you, I would think. So, who knows? But that was the backstory, and it was set in France. France, yes, in the city of Carrie, France, the sister city to Carrie, Ohio. Yes, not Carrie, but Carrie. Carrie, France, the same place where those catacombs were located in 2010. The Black Death rising, les morts noirs, yes, rising to get you with the beaky face, yes, those plague doctors. This would be the gargoyles. Then were located in this cathedral in Carrie, France, and I'm running out of time, so I have to continue Gothic in part 5. Oh dear.